Welcome to a new video. Today we're gonna take a look at both the Shadow Poliwrath as well as the Shadow Poliwhirl in the Open Great League. And honestly, this team should have not worked out, but it worked out so well, and I can't wait to show you the battles. They were so much fun, and honestly, this was most likely my favorite team so far to play because it was a little bit tricky to play. It was like with a little bit of spice with the Poliwhirl, but still was a lot of fun and was working out really well. So let's go right into the battles. And also, let's talk a little bit about the team. We're going to have the Poliwhirl as our say-sub. We're going to have the Poliwrath in the back. Nice ABB style line, of course. And we're going to have in the lead the Charjabug. What we kind of try to achieve here is we try to have basically a lead that can still deal with most grass-type Pokemon, which the Charjabug can do, but also still deals with flying-type Pokemon because our Poliwrath does not really want to face it. But also still has to deal with Lantern. And basically, Charjabug is the only Pokemon that fits this profile, which makes it a little bit of an interesting one here, because it's still not as great against Lantern, but still can deal with it. Basically, if you put this team into PE Poke, like the backline, you would see something like a Skarmory, but then you're going to lose completely hard against any Electric-type Pokemon. So we're forced to go for this one, but honestly, I do not regret it, and honestly, look at Poliwhirl here already. Poliwhirl going to be able to still survive this one, and Poliwhirl will be able to knock out 2 Pokemon in the first game already. Let's move on. Poliwhirl actually got 2 buffs as well. Poliwhirl got the buff of the move Scald, but also of the move Bubble. And on PE Poke, Bubble is preferred over Mudshot, but for me and for this team itself, it is not the preferred move that I want to use. Why? Because Poliwhirl is going to be our bait for a potential Lantern in the back. And we're going to kind of want to have the super effective fast move damage plus the higher energy generation, so we can still go for Mud Bomb and do some super effective damage against this Pokemon. Here I was so surprised on how fast the opponent's Clodsire was able to charge up to its charge moves. So I'm going to be forced to use 2 shields here in order to realign, but at least I'm going to get all this matchup with a ton of energy stored. But they're still going to have their own Poliwrath here in the back, which is going to be a little bit tricky. I tried to fish for the debuff, which I barely ever get. Like, honestly, for me it was definitely not a 50% chance today, but here we're going to be able to go for the next move. I'm gonna get the shield from the opponents. They decide to swap out, and they're going to have a Carbink in the back. And what I have to say here, honestly, if you have not built a Shadow Poliwrath yet, or like even a normal Poliwrath, you have to. Like, this Pokemon is just so much fun to play. We're not going to be able to knock out the opponent's Carbink in the zero shield scenario, but we're still gonna get them low, and this game was insanely close as well. I decided to go for the Exeter, hoping that this is going to knock them out already. It does not, and we still have to go for 2 fast moves anyway, and so we can not reach the charge move in time. The opponent decides to go for the Icy Wind, which we can still survive. But because of this debuff, the opponent going to be also surviving the discharge, but a 1 more Volt Switch is all it takes to knock them out. Good game there. Let's move on to the next one. We're going to have a Wishcast in the lead. This is going to be a little bit of a tricky one, as you're going to be forced to swap out, and this was actually the first battle that I played with a team, getting completely hard-walled from left, right, and center. That's why you kind of want to still play with a team that you might think might still work out well. Here we're going to have the Dragonite against us. Dragonite is a tricky one for this team to deal with. It's neutral against the lead. You can still have Icy Wind later on with your Poliwrath, which is going to be nice. But in general, it's not the Pokemon that you want to face, especially not as a Poliwhirl, as you don't have coverage for this one. Here we're going to be able to go for Discharge still and gonna get the final shield of the opponent, and so I try to basically take advantage here by going for 2 shields on my Poliwrath, but sadly, the opponent actually still going to be able to reach another Dragon Claw here on the Dragonite, which I did not expect, and which is really huge, because I'm fairly certain I would have been able to win this game if the opponent did not get this move off, because here you can see already how strong the Poliwrath is even against the Skarmory. We would have been able to farm them all the way down, and so this is going to be a very close one, but sadly not going to be for us. Let's take a look at the next opponent. We're going to encounter a lead that I don't really enjoy too much here. It's going to be the Abomasnow. Abomasnow being very decent for a Poliwrath, but I cannot swap out into my say-sub, as my say-sub gets completely hardwalled. My lead is not going to do super effective damage with a fast move, but at least with a charge move, which is kind of nice. But it's still not going to be looking too great for us, as I'm going to use a shield against the opponent's Weather Ball. I can go for the Exeter. This will be able to get, hopefully, the shield or the knockout. Let's see, it's going to get the shield, and I'm going to try to swap out now. now. Because now the opponent is going to be in range where I can A, take the weather ball, but also maybe even mud-shot them down, but they decide to swap out into the lantern. This is exactly why I decide to still go for the mud-shot over the bubble. Even though bubble is preferred on this Pokemon, mud-shot is going to allow you to generate energy faster and threaten a shield for the lantern here as well, which is amazing for us. And we are one fast move away of getting a move off with our Charjabug, so I decided to go exactly for this. Gonna use a shield here. The opponent is at 2 serves at this point of time, but I will be able to win the CMP tie against the opponent, which is huge here, as I now can swap out immediately into my Poliwrath, and the opponent makes a real play of going first into the Bomber Snow, and now we're gonna go into the Knock Tower. And now I can still get to a charge move here. Icy Wind is coming through, gonna get them low, not gonna get the knockout though, and they can now go for their own charge move, which is not gonna knock me out either. But we can still get some counter damage through, and 2 more Volt Switch is all it takes to knock them out. We have a move start, and Charjabug is coming in clutch. Honestly, Charjabug is so overpowered right now as well. Have to say, Charjabug is something you definitely should try out if you have not done this yet, because this Pokemon is just so good. We're going to encounter Registeel in our next battle here. This is going to be okay for us as well, as you can now let the move go through from the opponent. It's going to be always resisted, and I can swap out into my Poliwhirl. I'm gonna get out the Azumarill, and I was thinking here, I'm actually going to check it on the side as well. I was thinking here of going for the Scald instead of the Mud Bomb, because Scald has the option to debuff the opponent's attack, plus it got buffed, plus it is stab, but it's still going to be weaker than a Mud Bomb here, so I guess this is a fair play for me that I'm gonna go ahead and go for the Mud Bomb. As you can see, the Poliwrath is coming through. I can still reach another Mud Bomb, and our Poliwhirl is just going to town here, doing so much damage against the opponent's Azumarill. Still reaching another move in time, but the opponent is going to decide to go ahead and let this move go through, and they're gonna go still for their own charge move. I decided to shield because I want to realign here, and as we see, the opponent going to let the Azumarill go down. They're gonna go into an Altaria, which is pretty bad for me because I don't really have the options to deal with it anymore. So, yeah, I'm going to be forced to go into my Charjabug here, which is not really ideal for me either. But I will be able to at least go for 2 discharges, but they're going to get a ton of energy as well against me. So hopefully they're going to throw soon, and hopefully they're going to maybe try to swap out eventually, but we have to see about this. The opponent goes for the Sky Attack, which is gonna get the knockout against me, and I can go for the Icy Wind, but they try to catch the move, which does not work out, and they make a huge mistake here. They still had a chance of winning this game, but they decide to use a shield here, which does not make any sense at all, because as you're going to see now, I will be able to just farm them all the way down. I win CMP tie against an Altaria, and I have the Icy Wind stored, which is going to allow us to win this game with a clutch Icy Wind from the Poliwrath. Moving on to the next game, we're going to encounter Charjabug against a Vigoroth. This is usually a very decent matchup for me, or like it's at least a playable matchup, but now they're going to have extra Rock Slide, but they don't decide even to go for it, they decide to go straight for the Body Slam. I still kind of want to keep my Charjabug around because we have an AB B-style line, which kind of means that you kind of want to keep your lead always around, so that's why I swap out here. And I should be able to outspeed the opponent to the next Mud Shot before, like Mud Bomb, before they can go for another Body Slam. And so I decide to go for my Mud Bomb here, and the opponent is going to let this move go through, which is going to be okay for me, but they're going to reveal that they're going to have the Wigglytuff in the bag. At this point, I would really appreciate a debuff from the Scald, but sadly we are not going to be able to get it, and I'm going to swap out, of course, into the Charjabug, as I can't get into my counter user and my fighting type in general. But I make a mistake by going for the Exeter, expecting that this would knock them out, but they're sadly going to survive with 1 HP, which is going to be very bad for me, as they're going to have actually the Tentacruel in the back lurking. And I think if I went for the discharge, I might have still had a chance of winning this game. While this is a very bad matchup for me in general, we're going to still do a decent amount of damage here with the counter, but I decide to forfeit now. Let's take a look at the next opponent. We're going to encounter Gastrodon in the lead. This is kinda neutral. I don't really like this matchup still, and I kinda make maybe a little bit of a mistake here as well. We're going to encounter that here now. They're gonna be able to just go for another fast move here. I should have maybe went for my own fast move first, but now I'm going to swap out into my Poliwhirl, as I would be able to go for the Mud Bomb. And here I decide to go for the Scald first, because I kinda hope to fish for the debuff, and I will be able to get the debuff here, which is amazing. And so I can even get to another Mud Bomb, which is gonna be able to get the shield from the opponent, and they're still going to be forced to throw against me. Poliwhirl is just literally taking, like, honestly, like, it's going to have such an interesting matchup against the Venusaur. It's just so wild that you will be able to get a shield advantage as well as, like, getting the damage onto them there. But we're going to use, of course, a shield here onto our Poliwrath. It was actually just a sludge bomb, but I can go for the full farm down, and they're going to have a Clodsire in the back. And I'm still going to be forced to most likely catch a move here from the opponent. We're gonna get the attack drop here with the Scald, which is nice, and I can catch the move. It's going to be very likely the Stone Edge, and it is the Stone Edge here as well, which can now go for the Exeter against the opponent's Gustload, which is gonna get the knockout here, which is kinda beneficial for us, but also kinda not, because now the opponent gets a ton of energy, and I don't really get the energy from farming down the Gustload, so it's going to be a very close one. We can go for the guaranteed debuff, and I was not sure if this was the right call for me, or if I should have just went straight for the full farm down, and it turns out the opponent still can get to a Charjabug here. It's going to be the Earthquake, and because of the debuff of Icy Wind, I still reach another Icy Wind and win this game with a 1 HP left. Next opponent, let's take a look at the next opponent here coming up. Going to have a Lantern in the lead. So we're going to have, of course, our perfect lead here as well with the Charjabug, and Charjabug is so good in the current meta. Being able to beat those flying type Pokemon and being able to beat those water type Pokemon, it is just a very good pick right now. So if you haven't tried out Charjabug, definitely one of the most underrated Pokemon. I might make a video about like the most underrated Pokemon for the Great League as well eventually. This Pokemon would be definitely in there. So yeah, we're going to be able to just go ahead and go for some Volt Switches as well as the Exeter. We're going to not be able to completely win this matchup here. I think I would have been able if I just stayed in, but I kind of want to get some extra energy with my Poliwhirl, allow me to go for a Scald against the opponent's Vigoroth, and this is going to get not the debuff again. It would have been really nice here, but I still should be able to survive another charge move, and the opponent gonna go for the Body Slam, allowing me to go for my Mud Bomb here. So I will get either the shield advantage or the switch advantage for my final Pokemon here, and it's going to be, of course, the Talonflame against our Poliwrath. And you might think this game is kinda over. The most likely going to have something like even a Brave Bird will of course be a little bit tricky, but I'm forced to use my shields here and they're gonna go for the Flame Charge. So how am I supposed to win this game? There is only one option for this, and it is kinda obvious as well. I have to catch. And I do catch, and with this catch, I will be able to now get rid of a ton of energy of the opponent. I'm going to wait until they throw again so I can line my fast move perfectly, because it does not really matter. When I go for my charge moves here, I just have to hit 2 in a row, and I'm just going to be barely able to go for another Icy Wind afterwards, and so I will be able to still win this battle just because I was able to catch that move onto my Charjabug. Next game coming up, second to last one for today, going to be a Victory Bell in the lead. I kind of misplayed this one, to be fair. We're going to see here, this, by the way, you see all the battles that I played with this team. They're going to swap out into the Mantine. I thought I could have just went for one extra fast move anyway, in case they're going to catch. But also, something that I didn't realize, I think they just put in the wrong Mantine, because they have all the other Pokemon built, but this Mantine is 1118 CP there, which I did not see at the time, so I feel like they just made a mistake there, because the rest of the team is very meta and very strong and very like built to 1500 CP straight away. So I feel like this person here definitely knows what they're doing. They just had most likely the wrong Pokemon in. But yeah, I could have went for just one extra fast move in the beginning, which I thought of even doing at the time, and I just didn't do it. And here the opponent gets the attack drop, which is kind of annoying. But I should be able to swap out in time. It's going to be the Lantern here again. Like, the opponent is going to definitely know what they are doing here. I'm going to be forced to use a no shield here actually against the opponent, which is going to be a Thunderbolt. And I'm going to use my shield now against the with my Charjabug here basically, as this will allow me to go for the Exeter spam. I still have to reach 2 Exeters at this point. I can still go for a shield here. Can I outspeed the opponent? I still need one more force move to get there. And now I have 2 Exeters stored, and at this point I know already I win this game, because I saw the opponent sneaking the extra fast move in. And so even if there's CMP tie there, they would lose this, and so Charjabug is coming in clutch again. Final battle coming up. I think this is most likely going to be my favorite battle, but I'm not sure about it. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. Now I think I'm still going to lose this one here, right? We're going to have the worst possible lead in the, that we could encounter here. It's going to be the Nidoqueen, completely hard-walled, and we're going to encounter also the Azumarill, completely hard-walled. We are not going to get the attack drop. We can go for another Scald, so 50% chance, so we should hopefully gonna get it now. We are not gonna get the attack drop again, which is really bad for me, because now the opponent is going to do so much more damage also against my Charjabug, which I would have loved to just use to farm them all the way down, but I'm going to play this a little bit differently now. I decided to swap out into my Poliwhirl, And at this point, I can still go for a Mud Bomb. I needed to get some extra energy for the opponent's Nidoqueen. The opponent decides to use a shield onto their Azumarill, allowing me to go for a shield as well. And Poliwrath is coming through. So the opponent swaps out now into their final Pokemon, which is going to be a Swampert, which is also not ideal for me. So I can go for the Scald. Again, I don't get a debuff, 3 Scalds in for this battle, and we don't get a single debuff with any of the Scalds. But I'm forced to go for still another charge move here to knock out the opponent. And let's take a look at this one. We're going to be able to get the knockout here, and it's going to be the Nidoqueen. We can catch the move onto the Charjabug, which is going to be amazing, as now we should still be able to just go for the Mud Bombs, and Mud Bomb should be able to knock them out from this range. Mud Bomb got buffed recently. I still have a shield left, but I still should be able to reach another one in time, and the opponent swaps into the Azumarill, and I can go for my charge move, and the opponent wins CMP by 1 point, like 1.4 I think it is. I did not expect this, and I was so excited for this game, and I still lost it. But sometimes losses are also kinda something interesting to take a look at here. Like, this was so close. I was so excited for this. But still, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to leave a like, check out the videos that you see on the screen, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.